Our next poet is Marsha de la O, and I'm going to keep this brief. The language is gorgeous. The poems deal with the pain and the power of the creature world, and the book is called Creature. Marsha de la O.
What a remarkable day. A stunning day, really. And what stalwarts you all are to be here for poetry. And thank you to Joyce and Richard. All I ever wanted to do in life was read at an environmental poetry festival. And here it is on this stunning day. So I have 5 poems. That won't be too long. And they're sort of from 5 different regions of, well, mostly California. But this first one is from the Douglas Preserve, which is a conserved area of land in Santa Barbara County. And my daughter brought me here, and she appears in this poem as a 4-year-old. It's called Gray Fox. Gray Fox. Years later on the headlands, chevrons of seed stalks brim with light. Midsummer, in a parched year, feral tang of eucalyptus. Walking slowly, scanning for her coat of ash and gold in an arid field, the neat triangle of her face. So long I've known this animal, since my daughter was a child and first saw her stretched out an arm to the dark-rimmed eyes holding our gaze. Afternoon flecked with summer ending. She's a drift of gold in dry air, topaz of her stare regarding us, stopping time. That moment carried with me sense, leaf shadow now disappearing into now vanishing, but here, the whole way on the other side, her sharp face, time past and time to come, hope like electricity in a cloud, that this wildness should last, that she holds on, that she found a way to pass life through her. This next poem takes place in the Peninsular Range, which is the mountain range that goes right up the spine of Baja California and then into San Diego, and it separates the desert from the San Diego backcountry. And I won't tell you what happens to it after that. It's called Coyote Song. Inside the night, this hospital, asylum, this party for those undone by desire, forever unslaked. I'm inside a house, this house, with 8 beams and moonlight pulling on the past through skylights. This house on a ridge line, my sister's house, with corrals and outbuildings around it, and beyond that, the dog patrolling, and beyond that, skirts and folds of the mountain rising in rumpled geologic scrolls into the range. At the center, beneath the moon's silence that nothing ever changes, muffled in blankets with fear beside me on my little bench of sleep. I can hear their voices. Could be 3 or 23, unhinged saints gabbling to their shadows. Could be Burnham wood on the move, the shriek of its roots, thirsty and air-bruised. Or a pack of lunatics crooning norteño songs. What is certain is Advent. They're coming down, coming towards the heart beneath the feathers, coming for what can't be protected. I'm listening, my eyes snapped open inside darkness. Other people in other rooms who know how to sleep through a night like this night, thrown against the roundness of the world, which is desire. The old dog guards this night on the ranch, half shepherd, half other. This is her watch. She gallops the perimeter, anxious to sound like more than one dog, though she's going arthritic and her paws strike hard ground. Now they quiet, penitents, lunatics, marauders, and rag pickers quiet. Only one left behind, and the moon is his hieroglyph. One creature padding down the mountain, coming closer. Coyote knows a good joke, he only wants to let her in on it. He can't stop laughing, can't stop crying, can't stop licking the crevices clean, licking safety and duty until they're empty. I hear the dog listening, ears lifted. Coyote's tongue slides into night air, pressing narcotic vowels through wonder, through longing and wonder awaken. She's close to that edge, that border in the night where one thing becomes another, and even an old dog who's worked a ranch 11 years feels the urge to let loose, blow this little settlement, go wild. Clouds, loose and blue in the arms of the moon, slant light on this mountain, raking us, the dog and I. We feel the pull. Imagine a woman trying to come between Coyote and the female he's after when she knows what is dark and offers itself and vanishes, has come for her at last. The body wants what it can't have, to follow the path of thirst through the rent in the wire beyond the corral. The dog doesn't move. But who knows better than she? The small outpost death has set up in her. Maybe she's all desire now to slip under the moon and chase down that lure. Coyote wheedles and croons another minute or two, then lopes off, calling over his shoulder in a language even I can understand, the right names for things not kept in heaven. Okay, this next poem is a poem in praise of epiphytes, which are those plants that get their nourishment from air. And it takes place in Ventura County, where someone gave me a bromeliad a couple years ago, and I was like, I don't care for exotics. So, whoops. So I just threw it down in partial shade, and it turns out that's exactly what they want. They hate people trying to care for them. So it bloomed, and the poem is called The Living. It bloomed like 3 weeks ago. The living. There's nothing the living won't do. My flowering bromeliad emerges headlong and dying in flamingo, color of attraction. Outer whorls in cerise, color of an offer, myself plus goodbye. Its fragrance in rouge, my own body's private longing, my amaranth self. A wish stitched inside extravagance. A voice with a long, supple, female branching of indigo. Stigma like shooting stars in night's dark lap. This nocturne of moonshine and breath where essence exchanges. The proofs in all these lovesick blossoms were meant to be left breathless, to call it shameless, call it cobalt, call it peacock, ocean, violet. I say violet. And this next poem is called, this is the fourth poem, so we only have this poem plus one more. This poem is called Helianthus, which is the Latin name for sunflower. And it's set really in Santa Clara Valley in Ventura County, where they grow some fields of sunflowers, but also in Spain. And it also references the millions of sunflowers planted in Fukushima after the accident with the nuclear plant. And it also references Van Gogh and his painting of sunflowers. There's two quotes from him in there, and one of them is, "Let me stay in the compass of my heart." And the other one is, "A symphony in blue and yellow," referring to his painting. Helianthus. Koyu Abe hands out thousands all over Fukushima. Drifts of sunflowers stretching up in abandoned yards alongside the nuclear plant. Do they really absorb radiation? You pass a field of sunflowers in Spain. You're on a bus. I don't know you yet. Have you ever been so happy? Endless faces, countless rays. This granary, this cluster feast. Van Gogh's painting sunflowers. Here's gratitude and dying every day. Here's waiting on the beloved. Would Gauguin come? Let me stay in the compass of my heart. And something grants his prayer. He's already there in blossom and blossom and blossom. 2 million standing in Fukushima, hundreds rising at road's edge, an entire field of bisexual enigma stars nodding their heads. Say evanescence. Say inflorescence. You say, "God damn, you're pregnant. God damn." Wondering or displeased or both. I'm already lobed, tooth-marked, spiral, flung out saffron. We're in the field, 1,000 queens, each keeping a secret, 1,000 clandestine florets pollinated by drunkards, by wade in the water bees up to their knees in nectar, fetlocks cover with pollen. The world doesn't need us to know it exists. At the base of the flower, a door and a hall of hidden chambers to conceal, to save seeds salted away in the compass of their bed, chaff for linen, perfect packages packed in a spiral, growth of hair on our baby's head. I dress her in corduroy, and she toddles toward a giant, long, green, muscled trunk, fuzzed and prickled, downward gazing head, catching light to card and spin, weave the thread, thrust color back into the world, a symphony in blue and yellow. What if we're like electrons in two places at once, up to our knees in nectar covered with pollen? Why not let joy stick? We could start over, begin again in flower speak, streaming tip of cytoplasm, corolla's open lips, to smelt, to palp, flush-fleshed brim, in a flash come, love that come, slake me. The last poem takes place on the North Fork of the Kern River in the canyon. And in that place, they have a reformatory school for boys. And there's shade there on a garden, but they cannot see the river. And I was there once camping, and I saw a crow carrying a red ribbon in its beak. And I wondered if the boys could see that, and if so, what they might have thought of it. So the poem is called The Aesthetics of Crows. In the canyon, the light strong as liquid, a crow flying not 50 feet above the desert floor carries a red ribbon over the green body of the river. My lips are aching for water. The skin grows more webbed around my mouth, the croaking hole. Feather wands of cirrus sweep the sky, the plumes so high they cast no shadow. They make the sky deeper. They make time pass more slowly. Time passes slowly in the sky above the facility for wayward boys. Wayward, hither and thither carried by currents, the boys drifted here. The crow carries the red ribbon because he admires the aesthetic. The crow wants red. The boys want freedom. Even the ones who have submitted themselves to fate, docile. Even the most docile and humble of boys seeks the aesthetic of freedom. They didn't know what they wanted before they came here. Now everything informs them. The silverback surface of the scrub willow, the hard light off the rock wall, the canopy of cottonwood, the river that's invisible. The boys are bitter. That can't be changed. The bitter rind stretched over the heart. Under this sky, where vision sears and gleaming columns of air rise while the crow glides bearing red. Prison children use beauty as their guide, the symmetry of desire. The harder they want it, the more it must be so. Dreaming again and again of running loose upstream as the river hurries down to die, and sugar pines stun themselves, heat shocked by the stroke that won't stop. All right, thank you.